Hello everyone, I'm your host MX2, and in this video I'll just be kind of monologuing about modeling while we go over the modeling process that I went for, basically putting the pieces from the circular adventure in these areas to replace the simple cylinders that was there before. And then I also go over the solving process for the base that everything connects to. However, right before I recorded, I was looking at the back and thinking, wow, how flat and simple this area is. I'll need to do a pass, just refining the detail there. In fact, probably for the entire back, I'll need to do a pass, just refining all the normal facing details that are facing directly at me, the viewer, because it seems that I just left things a little bit simplified in the back, but that is a typical thing for me. So here we are just kind of looking at the final result, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. Hello everyone, and good morning. So jumping in here, we decided we're going to take some of the parts from our circular adventure and use them to fill in some of the really blankish cylinders that we had initially, because those were generic and boring, so we wanted something more exciting happening there. So at the beginning you see me just cycling those out and putting new parts in, which was the purpose of the circular adventure. Whenever it comes to HardOps, I'm always trying to imagine additional things that need to be done or changes that need to happen of the reasonable variety. I mean, of course, I could have infinite changes of unimaginable magnitude, but really we want to do things that are controllable, easy, affordable, and effortless, right? So I'm just in here just using set origin with cursor mode in order to place my cursor, and then using just snap to cursor in order to place the objects there. And this is because there's a dialogue internally where I really feel that there's a tool called advanced placement that could happen, where all these actions you see me doing could be done in an automated fashion, where basically we establish where our central point is on the object, and we establish our central goal on the target, and we would just place dots and click dots and have a good old time. So here you see me simplifying one of these, because why have a hex in the center if it's going to be so small and insignificant? In fact, I just want to start off saying I was having a dialogue with one of the users. They were asking about how I'm able to keep the performance working good on my computer, and they have such poor performance on their computer, despite their computer probably being better and newer than mine. And my answer for that is simply applying modifiers. One of my goals has been to just kind of make changes in my workflow to just analyze different aspects of Blender. So now I'm at the aspect of Blender where I'm really analyzing the potential of geo versus modifiers and how they impact performance. So we look at this part, and if I was trying to do this with bevels and Boolean modifiers and keeping everything live, I can definitely assure you that the viewport would be much slower. But we want to try to keep things nimble. Really, I think Blender needs some sort of events profiler that really isolates and showcases what objects are consuming all the processing power of the scene and allow users to make a intelligent decisions. But just like with the geometry editor, right? You go into node editor, you can see like profiling on all of your nodes, and you can see which nodes are impacting things so heavily. And we really need that on the Blender side for Booleans. But really, if you're using exact Booleans, just know that that is going to cause you pain of the speed variety. Maybe not immediately, but definitely at some point. So here I'm creating like the final digit for this leg part. In fact, I end up extending past this robot or past this leg and start doing the entire robot because I wanted to do something fantastic. In fact, in the end, I just started getting backed up by the amount of videos that I was doing with this, because I mean, even on the laptop I have videos about robot hands that I need to export, but really now that this computer's restored, I might as well redo that entire subchapter on the lordly computer now that it's back. I'm ever so grateful. I would be more than willing to redo an entire thing. So here you see me trying to use a little hard bevel and discovering that hard bevel can use about 2 more rounds of adjustment in order to be perfected. I mean, my life is an eternal tool test of me just finding out, like, hey, this thing needs work, this thing needs work, and then me presenting it to those parties that it needs to do to work, and them saying, I don't believe that it needs to work. I don't believe any of this. Why are we talking about this? But as my job is to keep revisiting these same topics over and over until they reach a level in which I no longer feel the need to complain at all when I'm using anything. So with this particular part, since it was like unclear, I just kind of freestyled it, but I did want to try something a little more technical and a little bit more interesting with this upper leg compared to the middle part, because I'm always looking at robot joints. Anytime mechs are in media, the first thing I'm looking at is the joints, how the legs are solved, how the arms are solved, how articulation is solved. That's the first thing I look at with everything. In fact, right now at my desk, I have a college textbook about robot manufacturing that I'm just always looking at, that's just talking about all these real world robots that existed, because I want my work to move more out of the realm of the fantastical and more into the realm of reality. So I want my work to have a little bit more of a realism look to it. So to do that, I got to study history. But in any case, here we're getting in here, solving corners. And, solving is one of those things, like, the first meshes that I was solving, it was just like, wow, I am committing. I am making a commitment to the mesh. Like, when you apply a modifier and you're like, hey, I'm going to commit it, you are making a promise to the mesh that, frankly, I don't think people are even completely attuned with making those sort of promises for it, right? Because, I spend a lot of time also reading comments. Like, I like reading comments where people are just describing their problems and struggles. I read one particularly interesting comment where someone was talking about just struggling with block-ins and being committed to finish the job. And, all these comments, I take them seriously and think about all of them. And I'm always thinking, how can I, make my content help other people make better content? If I'm able to do anything that's able to help anyone complete a project, get the willpower to complete projects, to build the discipline to complete projects, then that is that's a hell of a good channel. That's a good channel right there. If that channel makes you get in and complete a project and work harder and longer and focus on the things that actually bring you personal growth, then that's a good channel. I was watching a video not too long ago where someone was just talking about just Magic card games. I'm not into Magic, by the way, but they were just talking about Magic the Gathering and how it used to be just this cultural zeitgeist of interpersonal communication and meeting people in person and actually being able to just interact with people and learning social skills, and how that's now lost, and that we're a society of people that's just broken, right? And even crazier than that is I was gathering art books for this year's endeavor, right? I want to go over many art books with you guys, but one of the art books I sought to get was for Cyberpunk 2077. Instead, I accidentally got a book about the world of Cyberpunk 2077. So I'm just sitting there reading it, and I'm like, oh, snap. Hey, this world's interesting. Also, the most cliched world ever. But also, this world is very interesting. Like, in fact, the book, despite it not being an art book, made me so curious in the game that I reinstalled the game, and now I'm playing through the game again, which has been great. I actually miss the city, and the game has improved immensely. So, yeah, I'm just back in there now playing Cyberpunk. But the art book inspired me so much to just want to get back in there and play with the world. And that's just a really interesting effect. I mean, really, that is an art book, right? And that's what an art book is. So, just right at the tail end of last year, I kind of finally understood and discovered why art books are a thing and why I like them. And it's because, as artists, we all have our own styles, right? And those styles are built up off of our upbringings, our inspirations, the things that we're obsessed with, the animes we watch too much, the shows we watch too much, the TV shows we watch too much, etc. But that doesn't have to be our final form. And for me, I'm always seeking to break the mold whenever it comes to art and design. Like, I mean, not always, but that is what I seek to do. I want to be able to have additional styles and more flexibility to my work. So that is why I personally am looking at art books. I'm looking at them to analyze the art styles of others and to assimilate and take back things into myself that I see that worked out for them successfully. So, and that is really just made me realize that, I need to really, really, really go over all these art books. In fact, I used to say back in the most panicked of days here at Team C that, the answers to our future are in the past. All the things we worry about are solved by things that have already come out into existence in the current day. We just need to, get our heads together and locate it right. So that's the same thing here. I'm looking at these art books, right? Because I was at first thinking like, hey, I should cycle into using AI art and references and stuff like that in content. And it'd be cooler to analyze the greatest artists ever made and to assimilate their work into my own. That would be so much better than using a little AI as references, because I have a ton of videos that I was trying to record where I would be trying to model things based off of AI, and it was actually just as difficult as, if not more difficult, than trying to just take screenshots of assets on the PlayStation 5 and then model them on the computer to just talk about video games. But the problem is that these assets in the background that I admire so much, they're so blurry and they look like they're built up out of low quality maps. I mean, I don't know, maybe the maps rebuild themselves depending on their importance, but these assets look so great from afar, but when you look at them up close, like you're trying to analyze them, everything's all muddy, all the details are all muddy. It's like, dang, they pick a displacement map to make a generator. So I mean, these things always have me asking questions about workflow, but a lot of things recently allowed me to just kind of think about just life in general and socializing and just being human in a way that allowed me to formulate a better game plan for this year instead of just rolling into the year like I normally do. This time I'm going to try to have a little bit more intention, a little bit more purpose. So why solve? Are we solving? Is this mesh solved for a purpose, or is it a mesh to be forgotten? These are the questions I'm asking myself. Of course, I know the full answer. This mesh is definitely not to be forgotten. In fact, I intend to take it all the way there. This is just a form of entertainment. I was just working on just setting the stage. So we are getting there. With every loop, we are solving it. And even as I look at this now, I'm just still thinking about optimizations that can be had, but I'll stop there before I start talking about another topic. So in my last video, I was talking about how Tetris is a metaphor for life and thinking, right? However, I didn't get to finish my sentence where it also is a metaphor for how people deal with their problems, right? Like some people take their problems and they put them deep inside, right? They never manage them, and then they stack up like blocks, right? Some people compartmentalize their problems and end up with a stash of lines and a setup that requires only lines in order to solve it. So they're able to solve their problems as long as they're using lines, but without lines they're not able to solve things. So that's a line dependent type of structure in Tetris. I don't know, one day I think you could see a psychiatrist and they would be able to have you play Tetris and then analyze you play Tetris and tell you all about it. So now we are finally moving past the leg. However, the leg wasn't really standing in a way that was optimal. So here you see me attempting to just set things up to be rotated. Another thing about subdivision that makes it preferable, at least in most cases for me, is the simplify panel. You see that I'm able to go under simplify and just simply just turn off subdivision globally. Simplify needs to expand. Simplify also needs bevel, but bevel is more specific. Like really with bevel, there's like high poly bevels where basically the bevel is adding a lot of polygons. Those are bevels I would disable. And then there's like construction bevels, right? Like bevels that are used for the construction of the object. Obviously I wouldn't want to toggle those off in a simplified state, but this is just the type of stuff I'm thinking about whenever I'm working. In fact, I was really thinking that we need a collection level simplification system. So that way users would be able to work as hard and as stupid as they want, inefficiently with too many modifiers probably, but as bad and as dumb as they need to. And then they would be able to just have a collection level toggle flipper that would basically make their objects right. So now I'm working on the base where this connects, which, the story of my life is deciphering blurry images. I want to work on a setup where I'm able to share not only the music that I'm listening to whenever I'm working, but I also want to be able to have a camera pointed down at my table whenever I'm using the lamp and I'm looking over books and textbooks and things like that. So that way I can kind of bring you guys a little bit more into my world. But anyways, back to the matter at hand. I've been ranting for so long. Of course, while I'm working, I'm always screen capping errors in order to send them because our work is never done. But the most important thing to me about Boxcutter is being able to work, experience an error, and continue to work. So right there, you saw me use an exact Boolean. So there's two types of users. There are those who use the exact Boolean, and then they just forget about it. They forget that they did it, and they leave it. They leave the modifier, and then there's those who use it and apply it, and then correct it. One of them doesn't have as many mesh issues as the other. But when you use the exact modifier, it will make the mesh look like it worked out. It will look like it worked. And then what happens is it doesn't work. You instead have doubles and I want to say malignant edges, but that sounds weird, right? But you would have just these degenerative edges that wouldn't connect to anything, and doubles and point problems, and it's just a nightmare. So with this particular part, all I was thinking in my brain was, I'm just going to create some problems. But whenever I recall shapes out of my brain, I see that I have a limited mental library, and so that's something that I need to work on, because defaulting to certain solutions just isn't going to work. I mean, it could work, and I could just let it be, but if I'm focused on growth and improvement, then no, it's not going to work. It's something that I have to analyze. So here I'm just carving this part up, just really having a time with it. Just thinking about ways I can create wedges based off of extractions, just typical small brain polygon stuff. And then comes one of my favorite things to do with Boxcutter, and that is to try to create a join flush with the surface. And it's almost that time of year where I pursue that endeavor once again, where once again we try to go in and have fast and exact work together in a way that's fluid and dynamic on the fly. But it's easier said than done, especially when you're impacted by changes that are above your pay grade. The Blender Boolean system is like the weather. Sometimes the weather's just right and things are just looking good, and some days the Dow is down by an astronomical amount of points because some car randomly exploded. So it really just depends on that day. So now we're just merging more parts in here. I know I need to connect up a large amount of pistons to this, so I just know I need to set that up in advance. But when it comes to solving a part like this, not easy. Is it easy? Maybe it's easy. I'll make it look like it's easy. So here we're just getting in here and we're solving, and everything's just good. Life is good. We're just solving like it's 2012. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, we're just getting in here and we're just solving. In fact, I should start hitting this with a little quad remesher just so I can show you guys the type of solutions that we're rejecting. Because, right before nSolve became a thing, we were also working on a type of remesher that was going to just handle remeshing in an automated fashion. We were going to basically work towards a hard surface remesher, but it was just so expensive and so devastating in order to pull it off that it was easier to forget it ever happened. And that's a tool out there you can get. I believe I called it QM Auto Mesher, but I believe the final name is Quad Wild. But it doesn't matter because I'm not even thinking about that thing anymore. But as I mess with this geometry, I do think about automated solutions, but I don't want it to actually solve the entire mesh for me. When I look at this, I'm looking at areas. Like I'm like, if I could just somehow magic wand an area and just have like an alternative offering given to me for just a particular area, I would just scroll through solutions. In fact, that's my goal, is to just scroll, to just turn the game of modeling into a series of decisions we have to make, right? And those decisions get easier and easier to make. Your decisions are, do you want this to be a fully contained grid shape, or do you want this to also be trimmed with a inset of redirection happening on all the perimeters with nice little corners? That's how I look at a flat surface and a solution. So, whenever that is solved, it'll definitely be a glorious day. But I see comments all the time, always talking about, hey, when's AI going to just do our jobs for us? And I mean, when AI is doing our jobs for us, it will be asking us to leave. It will be giving us our walking papers. ChatGPT will be writing up a set of walking papers for us, letting us know that we've violated company guidelines or whatever, and as a result, we are now terminated. But solving is just one of those things. It's just one of those things. I watch myself do it, so I do it the initial time, and then I get to come back in, flashback mode and watch it like as if I'm Bobbity in the demon realm. I get to just sit here and just witness myself. And every time it just sends me thinking, just what more efficiencies could be had. Like, for example, this area here, in my brain, I'm thinking we need a type of collapse that brings a mesh up to meet it, but also is able to merge it into itself. Because we see these near misses happening with exact, but the solution is me subdividing and then bringing it up to meet it because there's a geometry mismatch somehow. And, how do we get around these things? And, the thing is I bet by the time that we actually do figure out a way around it, exact won't be a thing anymore. They'll have solved Booleans and had a new Boolean system come. I mean, whenever I started Blender, they were using a system called Carve, and then they moved over to Bmesh, and now we're using a system called Exact. So who knows what the next Boolean system will entail, but as long as it's good, and as long as it's not only exact, things will be great. Whenever the exact system was first offered, there was a scare that one day Blender would simply just only have fast. That it would only have exact, and there would be no fast. And that caused a great scare because exact is so astronomically slow that it makes the bevel a poor decision to use. And something need to be done about that. So luckily fast still exists, even though fast can add up as well, right? I'm not saying that fast is completely fast, but I am saying that fast is a lot faster than exact, and if you use exact, it will impact that mesh as far as translation, rotation, your FPS will start dropping down, all sorts of things. Like, even if the mesh is just sitting still. That's why I think a profiler would be so cool, right? Like, it would be cool if every mesh had a little timer on it that said, hey, this mesh took 0.22 seconds to be analyzed and to be assembled by the computer. But it's not so easy, right? But who knows what the future holds. I mean, the geometry node editor gets more and more handy, which allows us to follow and watch our data and do all sorts of things now, which I think it always was able to do. I just now am finally understanding the power of the viewer and the spreadsheet editor as far as being able to analyze things. Also in this update, you could see the interface showing up, the UI in the bottom right and in the middle. That was the major thing behind this update, was to begin putting in the UI so we can start giving this tool an aesthetic. However, right now it is still very early, so we'll have to see what the future holds as far as what is going to be done with it. But of course, my initial thoughts are how we can turn it into something that's more customizable and gives power back to the user, right? Because that's what I think the features are that makes users resonate with a tool, right? Is of course it has to do something cool, but what's also cool is how users are able to make it do what they want it to do that isn't what I wanted it to do. kind of the chaos multiplier or the chaos factor is what I'm talking about. So now we're just getting in here, dealing with a couple of just straight flatties, and I wanted to go crazy on this thing and put so many holes and just solve holes, but really this thing's about to be covered up by so much stuff, and I have so many other parts to do, and I still have to possibly come back and UV this thing at the end, so I just didn't want to deal with that. But now looking at it in retrospect, I see that I should. In fact, I tried to bring those two offset edges out and keep them even, but you saw that I already had to slide and basically compromise my values in order to make this work. And we are now at the 24th minute, which means that we have only 6 minutes left. I didn't want to rant too much in this video. I mean, I just wanted to finally get things back to the current, because I was actually drowning in videos to the point that I was unable to work. So now I can actually get back to work recording, maybe even do some real-time recording now that I got OBS set up to the level that I find satisfactory. But yeah, first video of the year, just me mindlessly blathering about life and Tetris and having a brain and thinking and all sorts of just random stuff. But I might end up finishing this video and just firing up one quick round of Balatro, and then Balatro would beat me up so bad that I would have to fire up one quick round of Tetris. And the interesting about Tetris is, I of course, you know me, I love Tetris, but Tetris recently came out with a game called Tetris Forever, and this one was like kind of an historical exhibit, talking about the past and the history of Tetris, and just all the games that have came out with it. And it's just a game that sends you on a blast to the past. You'll be playing around, and the next thing you know, you're playing a version of Tetris from 1984, and you have to complete 4 lines on it. Or you're playing the original Tetris from Game Boy. And the game had so many opportunities to be great, and the game's alright, but as far as a Tetris game, I definitely expected a lot more. I mean, when you say a Tetris game going over the history of Tetris, you expect all the games of Tetris's history, not just the most weirdest, most obscure, most Soviet-only releases of the game, because I wasn't playing those games. I wasn't in the Soviet Union or that crazy about Tetris. And also, I think some of these games were coming out before I was born. But in any case, it really did have me thinking more about the historical angle of things. I mean, imagine if you were using Blender, and Blender was able to load up retro versions of the past with your same mesh and file, just for you to do things. It's like, oh no, you've activated a trap card, and it sent you back to Blender 2.79, so now you have to model for 5 minutes in 2.79, and then that round ends, and it takes your mesh back over into 2.5, and while you're working in this version, it'll be telling you about just various changes and things that have happened over time with Blender. Just a fun fact, history factoid type experience. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. But when I'm playing video games, I'm often thinking about everything except the video game. In fact, the last thing I'm thinking about is usually the video game. That's why I'm always losing. I'm stuck looking at the ground, admiring the art assets, and thinking, wow, how can I improve myself based off of what I'm seeing? Instead of it just being, you go in a game, you lose all your time, you lose your day, you build a crippling gambling addiction. And not me, I'm not a gambler, but there has to be a better way for us to spend our time. In fact, even spending time sitting in dread about AI and the eventual decline, like there has to be a better thing for us to do than spend all our time living in fear. So now the mesh is solved, but the mesh isn't completely solved. It needs a little bit more solving. This mesh probably didn't even need this level. In fact, the purpose of this mech was for me to kind of discuss, hey, this is a part where you would want to convert to subdivision, because subdivision is easier to deal with, and this is a part where you would want to just keep things C-sharp. You would want to just let the bevel just hold it, and that would be it. So now we are finally looking at this thing, and that part in the middle, I still need to go back and level it up as well, go ahead and solve it into something nice, but I didn't do that right here. Instead, we just ended the video on this particular piece because it was a doozy. Like, I remember doing this and sitting at the computer for quite a few hours just solving and thinking just, wow, this is a demanding part. And it's because of every choice that I made to this mesh that it got to that point. So we look at this piece. I decided I wanted a very specific type of flow happening for this particular piece, so I tried to force that. This was also a part in which I requested that we now have cut through on projection tools. So one day they'll all be unified, and then when they're unified, they'll all share the exact same feature set. But for now, we're still figuring out what's what with the tool. In fact, part of nSolve is to basically experience that same journey that HardOps went through of discovery and development, but instead of rushing it to a conclusion immediately, to try to rush it, to try to force it, to pressure things at people and cause unnatural reactions. Instead, I want to try to take things slow, to try to test the tool, to really analyze, to really contemplate and think about what I'm asking for and doing and the goals that are going for, and to have a dialogue with the users. That is the goal with nSolve, instead of just adding a massive crazy feature immediately and then going for the next one. So now we reach the end of the video. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Advisors whisper, I'm drowning in dread. The crown's a curse, a world-ending thread. I know the rabbit god hunts me across the void. In every dimension, all hope is destroyed. I see the threat, it's beyond my might. The gruesome blood death, consuming the light. I must find a hero in worlds not yet dead. Someone to stand with me in the darkness ahead. The crowd calls with voices so foul. False power courses as the shadows howl. Drained of life, I crumble alone in the throne room of despair. My fate is so. Tendrils crawl, consuming my soul. The crown's parasitic grip takes its toll. Eyes roll back as my spirit fades to a world unknown where fear invades. Oh, this cursed crown, a burden I bear. A false king's power, a nightmare snare. In the void of life, I search for aid. A hero to join me in this dark crusade. The crown. Voices so foul, false power courses as the shadows howl. Drain of life, I crumble alone in the throne room of despair. My fate is so. The crown calls with voices so foul. False power courses as the shadows howl. Drained of life, I crumble alone in the throne room of despair. My fate is sown. Tendrils crawl, consuming my soul. The crown's parasitic grip takes its toll. Eyes roll back as my spirit fades to a world unknown where fear invades. This cursed crown, a burden I bear. A false king's power, a nightmare snare. In the void of life, I search for aid. A hero to join me in this dark crusade. crown is twisted, I face a trial. I've seen worse beasts in deserts exiled. Ye call thyself a god, but thou art a lie, a creature most base beneath the sky. By mine hand, kingdoms fall and slay giants and kin. Yet here stands a hare with delusions within. My shadow creeps, but I shall not yield, for I am a king, my sword, my shield. Verily I say unto thee, thou art but dust, ephemeral and weak. Yo, what the hell's with the words you speak? This is a church, man. You some kind of freak. You talk all fancy like you're holier than thou, but I'll tear you apart, here and now. You think your crown means a damn thing to me? I'll peel it off, make you bow, make you see. I'm the rabbit god and I don't play nice. You'll be begging for mercy when I roll my dice. You preach, you shout, but I'll silence that mouth. Look, thy words are foul, thy threats are weak. The righteous do not fear the havoc you seek. I've stood against serpents, against wolves in the night, and thou art not but a shadow, devoid of might. Dost thou know pain? Dost thou know fear? For in this hour I standeth here, the light of my kingdom, the blade of my hand, against this rabbit god on his cursed land. The meek shall inherit the earth, but you shall inherit not. You lost your damn mind, talking all holy and proud, but I'll tear down your soul and bury you in a shroud. You think you're chosen? You think you've got grace? I'll make you wish you'd never shown your face. I'll twist your face, turn you inside out. You're just another king, ain't worth the shout. I'll unfold myself, my true form to see. I'm the nightmare's end, your worst destiny. You talk in riddles, but I'll speak in pain. Make you feel every link of my dark chain. By the heavens above, what manner of beast art thou? Speak not of riddles, thou art confusion now. What madness possesseth thee? What fire dost thou burn? For I know not thy wrath, nor the depths you yearn. My form doth shift, thy words wax foul. Art thou plagued, or art thou but death's own howl? I see much face darkness profound, yet never a rabbit that crawls on this ground. Surely this is a vision, a madness unbound. You think I'm mad? You think I'm lost? You'll see the true me at any cost. I'll unfold my body, all 8 dimensions wide, and I'll drag you with me to where hope has died. I'll bend this world, make it scream your name, make you beg, make you break, set your soul aflame. You think you're mighty? You think you're blessed? I'm the end of all things, and you'll be next. I'll suck the marrow, devour your bones, and make your blood my throne. You're nothing, king, just another lost soul. I'll be back to collect, oh, you'll pay my toll. You're nothing, king, just another lost soul. I'll be back to collect, oh, you'll pay my toll.
The nightmare's still breathing. Survived the beast, but I'm barely still bleeding. Fury shadow, it crawls through my veins. An 8th dimension guard born from eternal pain. Hunched and dripping, the skull of the hair. Tentacles writhing, venom in the air. Forearms grasping at the edges of death. Jealous array clicking with each stolen breath. Hunched and dripping, that skull of the hair. Tentacles writhing, venom in the air. Forearms grasping at the edges of death. Jealous array clicking with each stolen breath. I ran but I can't escape. His curse is bound to mask my fate. Dark fluid falls like rain. I'm trapped in this shadow's reign. In the dark I hear him whisper, God of death, my soul's black blister. Arcs crumbling in my reign. The cursed crown calls my name, calls my name. in their eyes. Bowing deep, they plead my dark quest, but I see the crown that brings unrest. They hold the curse, the rotted crown, Furo's grip, pulling me down. I left it behind, but it found me again. The tentacles calling, the fear within. The weight of it drags me deeper. Furo's empire's keeper. Can I resist? Can I escape? Or will this curse seal my fate? In the dark, I hear him whisper, God of death, my soul's black blister. Armies crumbling in my reign. The cursed crown calls my name, calls my name. I limp to the throne, the crown in hand. The weight too heavy, I can't stand. I feel the tendrils crawling inside, taking my soul for the final ride. Convulsing, I feel the pull of the gate. This cursed journey sealed by fate. I wear the crown, I'm falling apart. Furo's empire devours my heart. Swallows me whole, nothing left to fight. The interdimensional gates pull me into night. My advisors lied, the crown took control. Now I'm just a puppet with no soul. In the dark, I hear him whisper, God of death, my soul's black blister. Armies crumbling in my reign. The cursed crown calls my name, calls my name. Everything fades, the battle resumes in this cruel world. I'm trapped in fumes, art falls beneath Furo's reign. The cursed crown calls my name, calls my name. In the shadowed void, I feast on bone, yet none compared to the king now alone. I watch him flee though far he may be. My sentience spans every realm I see. He trembles still, haunted by my face. But soon he'll return to end this chase. Insolent feel, awake with desire to claim his soul in endless fire. I shiver from the winter's blow. His gaze it lingers so far below. On this cursed throne I sit in dread, for Furio lives within my head. His mask, his claws, his whispered breath follow me still, the scent of death. The crown I left to rot and decay has found its way to me today. Advisors bow, but I see the lie. Furo's curse I cannot deny. His pulse quickens, his fear grows thick. He knows I'm coming oh so quick. Romantic, this dark dance of fate. I long to crush him, but I wait. His fear tastes sweet upon the air. I long to pull him into despair. Through every realm I hear his cry, his fragile breath, the song of the sky. Soon my king will meet again, and I'll tear you apart limb by limb. His voice creeps through the night so still. I feel his hand, the shadows chill. Oh, cursed crown, why do you call? To where you is to surely fall. Yet arc is crumbling under my reign. Furio waits,
whispering pain. My visors bow, their hands concealed. The crown's not weight, a fate revealed. I know I fight a battle lost, but I'll bear this burden, whatever the cost. Weighs heavy upon his soul. He feels my grip, it takes its toll. He cannot escape, my king so frail. Soon my claws will make him wail. I taste the marrow of his fear. The time to meet is drawing near. Through every shadow I watch him crawl. To me, dear king, you will surely fall. And when we meet, it will be sweet to crush your bones beneath my feet. I feel his breath upon my skin. His dark